As I said, there are some peculiarities with the material conditional. This is another one of them, right over here. So, imagine that. So I chose C because it's probably more perspicuous to choose C for consequent, right? This is what's called the law of weakening over here. It applies not to everyday if-then thinking, but to the material conditional. Here is how you know it does not apply to everyday if-then thinking. So it's true that I'm alive right now, right? I am alive. Assign that to C. Whenever that's true, then considered as the horseshoe, if North Korea just obliterated the world, then I'm alive, is also true. But look, if North Korea just obliterated the world, I'd be dead. I wouldn't be alive. Certainly not how our if-then works. But since this is secretly just equivalent, as we already saw, to a disjunction between not A and C, yeah, whenever I'm alive, then any disjunction where one of the disjuncts is I'm alive is going to wind up true. Even if the other disjunct is, it is not the case that North Korea just nuked everybody, because that would be the not A or C. So again, this is one of the weird cases, and I emphasize it because despite its weirdness, as it happens in truth tables, it is very useful to remember, as is the previous equivalence that I just gave you between that disjunction and the standard conditional. They are weird, but they are very useful. I think this is actually a shortcoming of truth trees. Sorry if I just said truth tables. This is a shortcoming of truth trees. It's unfortunate that these weird rules that do not parallel everyday reasoning are actually very useful for truth trees, especially in PL. But still, this is just one of those things that it really helps to get down and it helps you prove a whole lot. And if that's unsatisfying, as I've already said, we are going to get a lot more detailed on what the right way to represent if-then is, as opposed to the simplified material conditional. So this will be another entailment proof. A entails if D, then the value A or B. Here's how we do this. So as you know from the setup, you just start with the thing on the left of the sign. You start with A. Well, what did we just go through? What have I just mentioned a few times, among other things? That whenever you have something, you have that thing or whatever you like. In this case, I like B. Why? Because it's what I'm trying to get to. So, from A, I am always then allowed, no branching needed, to go to A or B. Because, hey, if A is true, then at least one of these is true, and I don't need to imagine different ways things could go. That's just how the one way would go from that point. Now, look over here, right? I have this consequent. This is now a consequent of this, the thing that I'm trying to get to. If D, then the consequent. And so given the weakening rule, I am always allowed to go from thing to if blah, 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 then that thing. In this case, thing is A or B, so I am allowed to go to if D, then that very thing. It's called weakening, by the way, because this claim, strictly speaking, says less because of the nature of the horseshoe. So you've already said more by outright saying that C is true, so you could retreat, because whenever that's true, then the weaker version of the claim, if then C, has to be true too, because we know that C is true in any case. That's why that's called weakening. That was a simple enough tree, no branching required.